Well, good morning from the cottage farmstead. It is a chilly one here, but we have delayed long enough inside with our meal prep, and so it's time for us to get busy outside. We finally have a sunny day, so we are going to make the best of it. We've been wanting to build our greenhouse for ages, but it's just been raining and raining and raining and raining, and it's just a big soupy mess out here. Now that we have sunshine, we are ready to start framing our greenhouse. So behind us here, you can see we have this huge pile of trusses lying around. We actually have two big piles of them, but we're going to make use of this one.
What ended up happening during the building phase is the builder ordered the wrong trusses to begin with. We asked for attic trusses. They just gave us standard trusses. Then after that, they ordered the trusses with the wrong roof pitch. So after two strikes with the truss company not getting what we wanted, we ended up asking them just to stick build it, which we're happy they did so because it ended up being like a 6 foot tall by 9 foot wide attic space to now we have a room that is essentially 18 feet wide by 24 feet long with vaulted ceilings up to 10 feet. So we're very happy about that. But we got these trusses.
And so we had the option, one set of trusses we had to eat the cost of, and then the second set that was done wrong, the builder paid for. So we have all these extra trusses lying around, and we were like, okay, well, we'll use some for the barn. My dad wants to build a sawmill shed, and then we had some funky short ones that we determined that we're going to use for our greenhouse. So the trusses that we're going to be using for our greenhouse were originally supposed to be for our front porch. So they're just 6 feet wide, and what we're going to do is we're going to turn them together to make a complete A-frame truss for using for our greenhouse.
So these are the trusses right here. They are roughly 7 feet long on the bottom side, 6 feet long on the top side. And so we're going to frame our greenhouse so that it's 12 feet wide and just put the butt ends of the trusses together. And there are 7 sets, so we'll space them roughly, I think that's 3.5 feet apart to get a 24 foot long greenhouse. So we're very excited about that. We will do extra bracing where the butt ends meet so that we don't have to have a center beam and do all the proper bracing from that vantage point. But we're excited just to see how this comes together and being able to repurpose these, especially since with the longer edge on the roof edge, that will enable us to put gutters on this greenhouse very easily, which is harder on a conventional greenhouse, but it will be very easy for this so that we can collect all the rainwater into an IBC tote behind just for watering everything in the greenhouse. So over here on the right, we have a type of greenhouse. This is actually one for Growing Green Family Farms. This was what we started with up in Michigan actually back in 2010. So already, what is that, 13 years ago, I can't believe it. We moved it down here to South Carolina to our other farm. We ended up moving it here. This will be for Growing Green Family Farms seed starting. So this is separate from our own, but right next to it is where we are building our wood greenhouse. So in between all the rain showers, which have been quite plentiful as of late, we figured out what we wanted to build the greenhouse parallel to, which is the back face of the house. That way it's in line roughly, it might be off an inch on the 24 foot length. But then we also set concrete blocks, and those are 6 foot apart on center to support our 4x4 posts, which will be basically the legs of the greenhouse, and the 4x4 trusses, which will, not trusses, but the beams, which will support the trusses going this way. So we got that done, roughly leveled the posts side to side, but our greenhouse will be built on an angle because we didn't want to level the whole growing site, as that would just take a lot of fill and cause us to have to build a retaining wall. So we built it on a slope, but everything's leveled this way so then our trusses can be nice and level together. The primary purpose of this greenhouse is not for necessarily growing in the ground, which is why we're putting this heavy-duty landscape fabric down. So I believe this is technically a 5.1 ounce per yard, or square yard fabric. It's really thick and durable and should last about 10 to 15 years in a greenhouse setting, just to help prevent those weeds from growing up. We will be building some shelves in here and tables just to make it easier to water the flats, as that will be the primary purpose of this greenhouse, is seedling propagation. But during the winter, a location where we can bring our citrus or our pomegranate trees on the cold nights as well. So we're building our greenhouse out of treated 4x4 posts, which will support the trusses up top. We have concrete blocks that we leveled on the bottom, and we bought these anchors, which you screw into the concrete blocks and then screw into here. We got this post square. I screwed these two boards here, which just helps keep it a little bit more supported until we get everything tied together. Once things are tied together, we'll be able to remove these, but for now, this will help keep it square and prevent it from falling over.
So we got our first post up before we realized it'd be a whole lot easier if we put the top bracket in before it's 8 feet in the air. So I'm gonna be screwing the rest of them in before we raise the rest of the posts. Well, as is inevitable on any project that you start building, is you get started and then you realize, oh, we forgot some stuff at Lowe's. So as you see, we got 3 of the uprights and the first beam across up, and we realized we were short 1 post, we realized we were short 2 brackets, and we needed some more Tapcon screws. The ones that we thought we were going to use were a bit too big and they were snapping off and we're having issues with them. So we're going to go get the appropriate size rather than trying to repurpose what we got around here. So we're going to make a quick trip to Lowe's and we'll be right back. And we're back from Lowe's. So what happened is we had picked up some extra 4x4 posts as we decided to make the greenhouse 24 feet long rather than 20 feet long. And we forgot to get extra brackets, so we needed more brackets. And then we realized, oh, the doors that we're gonna have in the front, we didn't get the cement blocks for the posts to rest on, so we had to get those blocks. And then we're like, well, it might be easier if we had an extra 4x4 here to help hold trusses up when we're trying to fasten them. So we got another 4x4 while we were at Lowe's. So it added up a little bit, but we have everything on hand, we think, to finish the framing project. When we took our break for lunch, we had the first wall all the way up and we put the brackets down for the next wall. What we're going to be working on next is, since we are building on a slope, the posts on this side over here are going to be a little bit longer. So we're going to have to put the posts in and then use a 2x4 that's long enough that goes all across the top to see where we hit level, and then we'll mark it and then we'll have to bring them down and cut it. So a quick update here while Nathan goes to get an extension cord. You can see right here that we had to improvise a little bit. Turns out one of our 12 footers was a little longer than 12 feet. And so we, instead of trying to cut it up there somehow, we decided to do a little cantilever there with a about 2x piece of material. And for some reason, we ended up with the same amount over here, even though we are going across back and forth and getting level. For some reason we're ending up off on 2 out of the 5 posts, and we're not sure why, so we're going to do a little bit of a brace there as well on the end. And as you can see, we have a little bit extra left over right there, and that's because that first post was too long, so we're going to give that a cut. Alright, so I'm on the back end here where we just put in this post right here and the cross beam right there. And Farmer Nathan's on the other end and he's putting in a cross diagonal brace that we'll have up there for now just to hold everything straight and level for us until we get back to finishing the greenhouse. Here's another angle from the front here. We're planning on putting a double door right here at the front, and we have the 4x4s right there for working on the framing for that. So that will be a project for another sunny day. Well, we hope you enjoyed seeing the first phase of our greenhouse build here at Cottage Farmstead. We'll definitely continue filming as we progress on it. This year we're planning on just putting plastic on it. Ultimately, we like to put some polycarbonate roofing on it, and we like to do some pretty glass windows, but all that takes time, and we are running out of time very quickly for seed starting season, as next week I'm going to start planting our pepper seeds and very shortly thereafter our tomato seedlings. So right now we're racing the clock and trying to get this set up in time to start our seeds inside. Catch you next time.